Hey, hello there, Dom. Maybe I should say ho, ho, ho. Hello there, Dom. How we
How you
doing,
doing,
brother?
Eric? Doing okay. A little soggy,
Uh,
but none the worse for wear. How about you?
yeah, not too bad. We started out a little icy, so we flexed our first flexible instruction day, so our first fit day of the school year. So I've been in the basement lair for a while today doing work, locked down. How was your
Yeah,
day?
not bad. Like I said, soggy. We got nothing but rain. Probably 10, 11 miles east of us is when the ice started. So a little bit east, next county over. Everything was 2 hour delays and fid days, and we were just raining and soggy.
Gotcha. And I'm
So
sure cranky kids in the classroom because they're like everybody else is off but us, and the woes is me's and all that goes on,
yep,
right?
pretty much.
Which it hasn't changed from when we were kids, except we just knew, unless the radio told us or we saw the little banner, we knew less about who was off. Now
Yep.
they complain about more people being off than we did. So, well, hey man, you're here, I'm here. I believe it's Thursday. I think it's the
Yes, it
third
is.
Thursday. So I guess there's a little thing that we do on the third Thursday. What do we do?
We do the PAECT pod.
So I guess we should kick it off. What do you think?
I think so. Good time to start it right now.
Here we go. All right, man. Well, we're kicking right into this December edition of the PACT Pod. Welcome,
Yes, we
everyone.
are.
I'm joined with a great co-host, Dom. Introduce yourself.
Dom Salvucci, Regional Director of the Southwest Region of PAECT. Thank you for being here.
And I'm Eric Verno. I have the true honor to be the Vice President of PACT here with our 17th episode of the PACT Pod. And this one's a special one. What do you think, Dom?
Very special little visual clue.
Product placement? Very,
Yes.
very good. So we are doing the PETE&C preview show, a annual tradition, the second annual tradition.
Yes.
And we definitely have some key components for the Pete that help put together Pete and C that are going to be joining us tonight to talk about the show. It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be an excellent show. We have Dr. Ann Noonan, who was on she's the one of the former past presidents of PACT, and she's on the board of PETE&C, and the current president of PACT, also on the board of PETE&C, Mr. Ben Smith.
El Presidente himself, yes.
Yes.
And, normally this would be the time where we would be signaling chocolate and talking about how sweet it is. But it's just going to be a little different this year in location and definitely excited for that. So, I think without further ado, the main point of this is to really talk about Pete and C. So we might as well bring on our guests. What do you think?
I think so. I'm going to step out for a second because I realized I'm amiss with something. I'll be right back.
All right, brother. All right. So kicking off our guest speakers, we got as Dom said, he'll be back shortly. We have Dr. Ann Newton and Ben Smith. How are we doing?
Doing great. Thanks, Eric. Good to see you. Ben, good to see you.
Both of you as well. Yeah, it's a great time for it.
All right. Well, we're going to be kicking things off and talking about Pete and C. I know you've done visits to the resort we're going to be at. You've done all sorts of planning and things going on, and you got the inside baseball. So, I think we'll kick off with what we kick the thing off with. We talk about keynotes, right? We're going to talk about some really cool keynotes that we have lined up this year, and that's something that's near and dear to Ann's heart. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and pull up let's pull up the file here so we can go ahead and have a picture while we're talking about the wonderful ones. All right, so let me do this right now. Here we go. All right, Ann, you want to kick it off with the keynotes?
Absolutely. Kicking off PETE&C this year on Monday is Christina Ishmael. She's the Deputy Director of USDOE Office of Ed Tech, and she will be with us at starting at 8 on February 13th, talking about digital equity and opportunity. So delighted that she is able to be with us. She's one busy person, and her calendar permits her to spend some time with us. So we're interested in hearing about the digital plan, the work that's being done at USDOE, and she is ready and willing to share that with us. So excited about that.
That's
So
great. I think that digital equity piece, that's a lot of teachers are talking about it, a lot of administrators, even our board, has conversations about that. So that's definitely going to be a great way to kick things off, and definitely a crucial conversation to have.
Absolutely.
Well, and the DOE is actually revising the National Ed Tech Plan right now. So they're sort of in the throes of it. So Christina will be able to do a couple things. I think, she's going to impart her knowledge and tell us where things are, but she's also going to be able to collect information, I think, from being at the conference. And hopefully that'll help to inform that ed tech plan.
So I guess the key thing that Ben's kind of tipping everybody off to is, if you see her in the hallway, don't shy away. Have that conversation
That's
with
right.
her, right? And make sure you share, because that's really what they're looking for. We're boots on the ground, and it's awesome when we get the individuals out and they really want to hear from teachers. They really want to have that voice. So that's huge there, definitely.
And she does. She's it's great timing. I mean, when we've talked with her, Ben and I have both had an opportunity to speak with her. It's great timing, as Ben was saying, to be able to give feedback and input. So the timing for this is really good. So
Awesome.
get
She was
Pennsylvania on the
a
map.
teacher.
Yes,
she
she's a
was a
former
teacher.
educator.
Yep.
Yep, early childhood and elementary teacher. So
That's awesome. Very cool.
it is awesome.
All right, rolling into Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday we'll be joined by Chris Singleton. As you can see on that page, an inspirational speaker. He's got an amazing story. He's a former minor league baseball player. He was drafted by the Chicago Cubs and spent some time playing with them. He had an unfortunate event in 2015 when he lost his mother in that church tragedy in Charleston, South Carolina. So he really has taken his message and is going to be sharing that with us about how much greater love can be than hate. So I think it'll be a really inspirational message from him. And I know even from our area, thinking about teachers and social emotional concerns and all that, I think his message will really resonate with the folks at PETE&C.
Oh, that's awesome. But kind of interesting. I didn't realize that tragic moment, but definitely taking that and turning that and using that as a platform is definitely powerful. All right, rolling into Wednesday.
Wednesday, we have a musician, an educator. He's an organist. Coy Bowles from the Zach Brown Band will be with us. He is not only a musician, but he's going to be talking about connecting to your calling. And he has a line of materials, products that deal with social emotional issues and how to deal with that with young children. He's a big advocate for literacy, and so he has many interests and hobbies that he's bringing to PETE and bringing his guitar. So I think it's going to be a great way to wrap up the conference on Wednesday, and look forward to meeting him as well as Christina and Chris.
The last several years, that Wednesday closing keynote, there's been some power there, and that's one thing I think a lot of educators, when they're they feel like the meat and potato. You get there, you get there Sunday, you have the Monday, Tuesday, and a lot of them jet out, and you really do miss something because, again, and the team, they're really trying to really find and really seek out really powerful keynotes, and that Wednesday one is it's always unique.
I agree. We've had a lot of excellent keynotes, and the Wednesday keynotes At the end of during lunch, it's worth staying for. It's definitely worth staying for.
So I guess
I
we'll pick
know
your brain, Ann. Is that kind of in your mindset when you're kind of looking at that? Is that something that you're really actively trying to seek out?
we've tried to do that in the past, absolutely. But this year, uh, schedules of people really played a role in which day they're going to be with us. You may have noticed on the literature and the marketing materials from Pete that we announced the Monday and Tuesday keynote speakers really a lot of time ahead of when we announced Koi. Koi was just announced within the last couple of weeks. And we were waiting to see what the Zach Brown band schedule was going to be, if anyone was booking in February. And it's like, do we wait? Do we? So we did. We gambled a little bit, I guess I'd say, wouldn't you, Ben? And
But I think
it
it was
paid off.
worth it because he has a great message.
He does. It paid off for us. So I think Christina's going to tell us about what's happening in the world of ed tech and with the National Ed Tech Plan. It'll be a great time for attendees to hear about that, think about what they do in their area of assignment. I think our inspirational messages will be both on Tuesday and Wednesday. So, and I know Koi's message with his materials, the little red door. Oh, sorry about that. That's
It's
our.
okay.
But his materials are really powerful as well. So I'm going to mute for a moment and take care of that.
Not a problem.
Hey, with that, we'll transition over. So going from keynotes and kind of kicking things off and rolling. And Ben, you are part of the team that puts together the program every year. Does a phenomenal job. And so what different things do you have to kind of share about that? What different things would you like to maybe even spotlight?
Sure. So we have uh, the program is going to be really fascinating this year. On Monday we're going to have an esports experience, and just thinking about what Kalahari looks like, the differences between it and Hershey. When you walk in, you're going to be walking down a long hallway, and then you get to the convention center. You're going to go right past the esports experience. It's going to be set up really fantastic place where you can turn in and you can go through. They have that actually as a little pathway. So you sort of go in and you experience different little pieces. And if you miss it on Monday, they're going to set up in the hallway on Tuesday. So they're going to move some of those pieces there, give you a chance to actually game, but also see the impact they can have on kids. So that's on Monday. On Tuesday, in that same space, we're going to have an VR experience. So we partnered with two groups. ISTE is one of them. So they're bringing in a VR experience, and then Transfer VR is a second one. And they're both going to be in that space there. So if you've never really done VR, or if you're wondering like how does VR work for education, those are going to be experiences that you can really get a deep dive into. We're flying in some experts from around the country to come and participate in both of those events. So those are sort of the highlighted events. But the things that you've come to expect, we're going to have a room dedicated to Apple and what they're doing. We have a big room where we're going to see some of the most common and really big presentations taking place. We're going to have playgrounds. The playgrounds are going to be in a unique spot right across from the vendor hall in an open area, and people, they won't be able to miss it. And so if you want to come and play, you're just walking through, like you're going to pass right by it and you're going to be able to see those playgrounds right there. So, I mean, those are just a few of the highlights of what you're going to see.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that VR space, and I know I got a taste of it at ISTE this year in New Orleans, and just the fact that just putting on Oculus Rift is what I tried on, and just like that whole experience was just mind boggling. And I only saw like the because it was kind of after the event happened, so I just got on and I tested a couple of the apps, like kind of what they feature on the commercials. But I really definitely want to make sure I hit that again this year to really go through it and look at the applications that it could have in the classroom and the different things. And for anybody who's interested, on the bottom of the screen, I have the PETE&C.org/2023/program.cfm. When you go there, you can kind of scroll through, check out every individual session that's being held. You can click and see the different information about them and stuff like that. But so that's great with how you featured those the different things. Any thoughts there, Dom?
No, I like. I'm looking forward to seeing the esports. I know a lot of schools are expanding into that, and that's becoming. I know in the Pittsburgh area, a big thing. There's several schools that have big esports complexes they're building on their schools and programs they're expanding to. So I'm excited to see that, and the VR, AR section. I really want to see. Although sometimes that's some of the VR gets to me, getting there a little long in the tooth, a little gray in the beard. It's like, I got to watch what I do with that. But I'm interested to see how that would work in a classroom.
But you should come back and try it because one of the interesting things, I know, like sometimes it's all about movement, but the transfer VR is actually career embedded training. So let's suppose you want to work with in advanced manufacturing and robotics. You can actually go in and you are in an experience where you're the worker working with a robot, and it trains you on how to do it. So it's when you think about like, oh, I might be falling and all that, that's not actually the experience. It's really like I'm on the floor working with it.
That's it. It's almost like job shadowing without having to leave the school.
And the transfer VR folks, they have 12 headsets. I don't think they're bringing them all, but they have 12 headsets, and it's free to schools. So once you see this, you might say, hey, I want to bring this into my school, and contact them and have them do that.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And that, to me, that's one of the more powerful things about PETE&C. You're there, you're looking at these different things, whether it's an educator sharing how they're using their classroom, and you go up and you pick their brains. 9 times out of 10, they're looking for people to share this with, and they'll do it freely. Then you can go and talk to vendors, so like transfer VR, that's what you're saying, right? You can go right to them and talk to them. And by the way, this is a program we offer to educators in schools for free. Like, but you don't know what you don't know. I mean, you can't be afraid to go up and talk to them and, hey, how can I get this in my school? Is there any chance I can get a demo product? I can get something. Like, you got to ask those questions. Like, I know there's so many teachers that sometimes are afraid to kind of go into that vendor hall and have those conversations. And it's like, they want to talk to you. Like, they're going to sit there bored if nobody comes up and talks to them, So I love that. Like, definitely go up and figure out what programs there, wow, no cost to the school. And what a powerful thing that you can bring into your different classrooms. Dom said, you don't have to take the kids anywhere because a lot of schools are cutting that out of the budgets as far as field trips goes, but now they can bring it to you. That's huge. That's awesome.
Well, and we try and have something for everybody. So, when you go to that program page that you had up, there's a place for IT leadership. And so you can, like if you're trying to convince some of the folks in your school that they need to go and take you along, like there's a whole strand of that. We actually have 2 rooms at every time slot dedicated to IT leadership, E-Rate and ESSER's funding and the networking piece and like all kinds of things that are going to help you. Cybersecurity is a huge issue this year. And so you're going to see those things on the program that might appeal to them. And then when you look at STEM and computer science and using tools, we got a ton of those sessions as well. So there really is something for just about everybody. I look at this, I know we call ourselves an ed tech conference, and certainly technology is a big focus, but honestly, this is the biggest education conference, I think, in PA, where we gather educators together. And so things that you might not have normally associated with PETE&C, like social emotional learning, is on the program this year. Virtual learning is on the program this year. So you can find all those kinds of sessions as well.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's where I like. Sorry, Ann, go ahead.
With the program too, you can search. So if there's a topic or something that you're looking for, put that in as the keyword and see if that information is in either the session title or the session description. So if you are lucky enough to be one of the folks from your district that will be attending, ask around. Is there something that you want me to bring back? Is there some kind of information that you want me to, talk to vendors about? And Eric, I just want to echo what you said about going into the vendor hall. First, I can still remember getting there for the first time. There are a lot of people in there, and just, they're looking to talk to folks. So go
Mhm.
on in, strike up a conversation, ask a question. The worst that they can do is say no.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that you were saying, Ben. I've been going to PETE&C for years, and it's not necessarily the technology, but the ideas that are brought back to the classroom that really, keep me coming back. It's great. You're networking. I get to see friends as my first PETE&C as a technology coach. It was great seeing people I'd never met from across the state and finally meeting them face to face. But everyone there, as Eric had suggested, people are willing to share ideas and they want you to come up and talk to them. Be they, a presenter from a session, the poster sessions, the face-to-face sessions, the vendors, everyone's willing to share ideas. And that's the one nice thing is that's why they're there, is to share. And you bring so much back to your district. It's well worth the trip out to PETE&C to get these ideas and bring them back to your district.
Yeah, in the morning and afternoon on Monday and Tuesday are going to be poster sessions, and they're going to be right in the hallway. So you can find them and you can walk up and have those conversations, Dom, that you're talking about. And if you're looking to see kids, there are going to be kids there on Wednesday for the Invention Convention.
Hmm.
So that's going to be, we sort of close down the playgrounds on Wednesday and we turn it over to the kids, and they're going to be showing off the pieces that they've actually invented. And so, I know Ann did a great job in getting Coy and that closing keynote. But if you're really looking to fill your bucket, Wednesday is that day, because you're going to be able to see students at their best, and then you're going to be able to close it out with Coy, and I think it's going to be a fantastic opportunity for folks.
Ben, you mentioned playgrounds. If people are new to PETE&C, maybe talk a little bit about playgrounds and posters, if you would. Like,
Sure.
what do you
So
find?
a playground is designed. We're going to have 6 tables set up, and the people that are coming, they're not really doing a presentation. They're going to have stuff out for you to play with, and it's themed. So we have a STEM playground, and so you can expect to see like little STEM challenges, or maybe even robotics or people coding, and you're going to be able to go up to each table. There'll be some people around the table, and you're going to be able to play with whatever is out there. Similarly, we're going to have a couple Google playgrounds where you're going to be able to go and, you want to learn how to do sheets, so you want to learn how to do slides, or you want to see some tips and tricks, and it's all right there, and it's very social. So as you're sort of walking around from table to table to table, you're going to be able to talk to people, and it's, again, that theme. And then we have a coach's playground. So, if you have an ed tech coach at your school, or you're a coach and you want to talk to other coaches, there'll be some of that social time. But even for the educators, it's a chance to get in, because they're going to be showing off their best ideas. And again, it'll be a place where you can go and try and do things. So the playground, you go when you were a kid, you went to the playground, to climb on the monkey bars, or to, swing and do things. That's what you're doing at an ed tech playground. Now, the poster session kind of goes back to the old days when I think about science fair. You used to make a poster, you'd have the poster up, and you'd stand beside your poster, and people would come up and you just talk about it. And it's probably a new take on it. The people that have poster sessions, they just have a table, and it's a 2-hour time slot, and people will come walking by, and they're just going to talk to them. So I find those posters to be informal conversations. So if I'm trying to, again, you just walk up and you see an idea, and you're going to be able to talk to them about it. Some people will actually have posters, but a lot of them will have like their laptop and some things out for you to take a look at. But if I was trying to describe the difference between a playground and a poster, they're both informal learning spaces where you can have conversations. The playground is hands-on, and the poster is more talking about ideas. So those are the two sort of differences, but I think they're great learning experiences, as Dom was talking about.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah. One other thing, especially with the posters, make sure that you have your phone and a QR code reader. Because
And if you don't know how, you can probably ask somebody at Pete, and they'll show you how to do it.
They will, absolutely. Yeah, actually the browsers will do that as well, but you'll see QR codes and scan them, and you'll have a lot of people will post their resources there, and then you can go back and take a look at that at your leisure.
First of all, we're signing Ann up. She's already interviewing. She's doing a great job with it, right? Dom and I are
Sorry.
sitting back. No, I love it. And then now I know we say the green shirts. Is it the green shirts every year? Is that the color this year for the volunteer shirts? Do we know?
So the volunteers are in green, and
Yeah.
the board and committee chairs are in blue. So here's what I would say: if you have a question, you want to know something, ask the green shirts. You have a complaint, see the blue shirts, right? Our volunteers, they're just that. They're volunteering. They're doing their best. They're coming through and they're helping us to make sure that we can run the conference. Something not going right for you, or you want to tell us something, those blue shirts are the people that will take that back, and we'll discuss that. So yeah, green and blue.
Great points. And if you just want to experience just loves the high fives, it's the PACT booth, and then come
Yes.
stop Dom and I, definitely. Awesome. Well, so what I'll do is we'll let Ben and Ann go, I think, because
Yeah.
continue have a great
You know
evening.
what? Before
If there's
we
anything else to
go,
add, go ahead.
yeah, there is. I'd like to add about the goose chase.
Ooh.
PACT is going to be doing a goose chase at Kalahari. Be a great way to get to know your way around the convention center and the area there. Lots of interesting artwork and artifacts to find. So I encourage you to check that out. Again, come to the PACT booth. We'll be right across from the entrance, right, Ben? Entrance
Yep.
to the vendor floor. So be on the lookout for that.
Awesome.
And
I was trying to look.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
Well, I was gonna say, it's a different place, right? We're not going to be in Hershey. The fireplace is not going to be there, but I am so impressed with Kalahari as a facility. It's great. And so, but I have a few things I'll tell you. If you have a hotel room, first thing I'll tell you is bring your walking shoes, because some of those rooms are a long way. And I know that was the case at Hershey, but I think it's even further. So I was thinking back to Pittsburgh. We were in Pittsburgh right before the shutdown. In Pittsburgh, you had to walk to get to the convention center, right? It's going to be similar here. You're walking a good long way, so bring those walking shoes. But each room has a fridge and microwave, and so that's a little different, right? You got a fridge and a microwave in your room, so that's kind of nice. But most of Kalahari is cashless. So if you're thinking about, like, I got to spend money, a lot of it is going to be it's not going to be cash that you're spending. You're going to when you check in, they're going to give you a wristband, and that's going to be tied to a credit card. And again, Kalahari is a water park, so that gets you into the water park, but it also gets you to those places. So you just want to think about some of those things as you go in. And I will tell you that the food, there's going to be food. A lot of people, in Hershey, you just head out and you're going to go drive around and get some food. Probably not the case there. You're going to be eating there. So you want to think about, plan out like where you're going to get your meals. And that might be one of those first things you do when you get there. And then one last thing I'll mention is that, remember that, or you may not know, it's Super Bowl weekend. And you might think, well, okay, what do I want to do? Well, there's nothing better than to come to a tailgate with several hundred or even 1,000 folks getting ready for the Super Bowl. And that's what's going to be happening on Sunday at Kalahari. There's an ed camp. So you can come up and you can do an ed camp, or you can do the KTI event. They're on Sunday. And then from there, you just walk across the hall and you're going to be in the pregame tailgate. And we're going to be in there till about 6 o'clock. And then there's going to be a whole bunch of places that you can go and view within there. I think I heard Eric's going to open up his room, bring everybody in. I think you're going to have 100, 200 people in your room.
Eric's side of the room. Eric's side of the room.
Now,
Dom,
good feed. We'll see.
Right. I mean, Dom's not worried about his Steelers, I don't think, interfering, but I'm looking forward to maybe the Eagles. So you want to come watch the Eagles, you can come over to my room and watch with
Dolphins,
me.
Eagles,
Yeah. So, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Haven't really done this type of thing before. And so we're really looking forward to doing that. But there's still going to be the evening entertainment. We have the PAECT meet and greet on Monday night. Vendor hospitalities are now on Monday. They used to be a little different time. And then we also on Tuesday dueling pianos back again. So,
Mhm.
there's going to be a lot to do around there. And those are just some of those things that you might think about um, when you're planning for Kalahari, and you can look around. And of course, there, in the evening, there's some other things that you can do around Kalahari as well, because they do have the water park.
Sure. That's awesome. Yeah, you hit a couple things we were going to talk about. Yeah, when you went off like with the Sunday, the Ed Camp, and definitely we'll talk a little bit more about the KTI pre-con event that's going on, and you got to kind of um, just think about getting there early and going into that. Now you mentioned the dueling pianos. That's the Tuesday night dinners. That's something that they'd have to on registration. They have to pay for that. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's
Yes.
a ticketed event. Yep.
So
Mhm.
just add that in there. Ticketed event. The meet and greet for PACT, that is also an event
It's
um,
extra.
at a minimal cost, but you do have to do that extra. So just make sure if you're looking at your registration, just go back in. Yeah, what was $10? Is that right?
$10,
Yep.
Yep,
right?
$10.
Yep.
So
$10.
And
yeah, just again, just make sure you go look at the registration. Make sure you have those filled out so that way you don't miss out on those different
yeah.
events. But yeah, there's going to be tons to do. It's going to be great.
We're gonna have activities at the the PACT meet and greet. That's gonna be from 5 to 7. We have some recognitions to give out. We have some awards to give out, and we're gonna have some games being played. We have some snacks, and from there that rolls into the vendor hospitality, which picks up, and it's going to be, as Ben said, on Monday this year. And we have at least 5. I know there was a 6th vendor interested. We had 6 rooms. We had 5 vendors definitely that were hosting attendees to come out and mingle for some social time. So that's going on Monday, and that's always a good time.
So
Shaping
not
up to
only
be a
is
great Pete&C.
exactly. This is the EdTech event. I mean, this is phenomenal. Again, all the work that goes into picking out those keynotes. And thank you so much, Ben, your service, putting together, and your team, your committee. Again, it takes a village
Yeah.
to put this together, and a lot of the different organizations that all come together. It's not just PACT, all the different groups that come together. So we are truly looking forward to an awesome time in February. So yeah, definitely, get ready, get geared up. And one point Ann made, which I think is huge for a school district, because it's an investment. You're sending teachers there, come up with a game plan. Have a way to kind of share that information. Go around, talk to other teachers that aren't able to go. What is it that you're looking for? Kind of have them scan through we're going to talk about the the website and looking through, as far as looking through the program, but truly treat it like I'm going in with this mindset. Here's the information I'm going to pull out so I can take it back and advance ed tech in my school.
Mm-hmm.
Use this as that catapult, as that catalyst for that. That's the big thing. You want to make sure you're not just going there, wandering the halls, randomly popping in the rooms. Have a game plan, and I've often found that if I don't do it before I get on the grounds, I feel like I'm just running the rat race. You want to make sure you look at it, go through it, pick out those different events now when things are
Mm-hmm.
calm, and then that way when you get there, you have that plan, and things are going to change. It's the world of education. It's how we roll, but you want to make sure you have that grounding. So that's
Yeah.
huge.
And if and I always do this because I bring back a ton of resources for my district. I always talk to other people I know that are there, like, what are you going to? Because a lot of times there's so many good sessions to go to. Sometimes they overlap. And like, well, you know what? I'll tell you, I'll go to this one. If you're going to that one, we'll trade notes, share ideas back and forth. And then it's kind of exponentially taking stuff. And I hate delving into the dark arts and mathematics, but it's exponential increase in information you bring back to the district because there are so many strong sessions. The program's always strong. There's going to be an overlap of things you want to see. So network with people and share the ideas there, and then share them when you get home.
Well, and our friends at Paynes are going to be recording every session, so they'll all be recorded and they'll be uploaded about a day later. So you can go back if you miss one, Dom. You can go back and you can check it out. They won't be live streamed, so you got to be there to see them.
And then that's available to you for a few months or so afterwards, and then so you can always go back and check different things out. So that's great.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's good to know.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We
Yeah,
truly
thank you.
appreciate your time. I mean, huge. We wouldn't have a conference without the work you do, and really sharing about it. I think it definitely benefits our members to hear more specifically about what to expect at PETE&C. So thank you both so much for taking time out of your evenings to hang with us.
Appreciate the
Thanks, guys.
opportunity.
See ya.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Take care, guys.
See ya.
All right. Take care. All right. Awesome stuff.
Oh, the comments about the Steelers hurt, but being a man of my word.
Oh, look at that guy. Yes. Yes.
Now, truth be told, because I'm a man of my word, they're not official dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
I got them at flea market. They're knockoffs. I think they might be porpoises, but
Hey,
they're close
currently
enough.
the way they're playing right now is kind of, it's not without purpose, but they're acting more like porpoises. So let's jump off of several things that were said. First of all, Goose Chase was mentioned. Dom,
Yes,
I believe Goose Chase is a friend of PACT,
yes, they are.
and I believe they're a friend of the PACT pod.
Yes, they are.
In fact, episode 5, we featured the team from Goose Chase. So if you heard Ann talk about Goose Chase, that's kind of got you, piqued your interest. Go on to the YouTube PACT pod page and look for season 1, episode 5, the Goose Chase episode. And it was awesome talking to the team and hearing about them and just the connection that we have with them.
Yeah, they are a big supporter of PAECT. I know my students love working with Goose Chase when I run them in my class. You can run them for online information. You can run them physical activities. So you can run them various different ways. And they're great to work with, great people.
Yeah, most
Friend of the show and friend of PAECT.
Yes, sir. So then pulling up the information here. Go ahead, Dom.
And the Goose Chase is always a fun thing to do. You get to learn about the event. You get to learn about PAECT. You get to meet new people. So, and it keeps you active. It's always a good time.
Yeah. So the website that I gave you earlier, the PETE&C.org/2023/program.cfm. When you go there at the top of the page, there where it talks about the keynotes. But right here is where Ann was kind of talking about in the title. You can kind of type the keywords, and it'll pop up. Whether you have it or not. If you specifically know of different rooms in the area, you can really go down to that point. If you know a specific person that's talking, or you can even just kind of scroll through and look at different people that you might know. Oh, look at Nicole Bond, a South Central PACT member. But then you can kind of do that. And then here's where Ann did a great job asking that question: what's a playground? You're kind of getting your hands dirty. You're doing the activities. Ben mentioned the monkey bars, the playgrounds, and I had a little, a little moment there. I was like, oof. But fortunately, these playgrounds, there's no chance of falling and breaking any arms. And then you can specifically look and see what playgrounds are there going to be, what poster sessions are there going to be, or you're looking for a tech track or workshops. So you're able to drill down specifically, or you could just go by the days and just kind of scroll through, right? So this is kind of kicking things off, and here's where Ben mentioned the Ed Camp PETE&C, so 1 to 3 p.m. and that's going on. Keith Royer, I believe he is the South Central PACT Assistant Regional Director. So they're going to be kicking off an Ed Camp, and if you've never been a part of an Ed Camp, it's you basically set up the agenda of what's going to be talked about, what's going to be learned about. The smartest person in the room is the room. So don't feel like you can't go to this if you're not the top of the top as far as knowledge goes. Or, oh, I don't really know much. That's okay. You're going to go there. You're going to be around a lot of people. You're going to learn. Just drop that wall down now.
You could be a lurker at Ed Camps.
KTI Precon. This is one that is, I believe that this has tickets to it as well, just because of room size, room space, and it's going to have a big game, free game feel to it. And Holly Woodard is definitely heading that up and doing a lot of cool things. I got a little sneak peek info and some behind the scenes stuff that's going on. You're going to love what she's planning. She always does an amazing job rocking things out. And it's a KTI pre-con. If you're like, well, I don't know what KTI is. Well, I happen to have my latest KTI wear right here. Nice vest. Dom's got the PACT vest. I got the KTI vest. You don't have to be a KTI to go. It's for people who are, I've heard about it. I want to hear about this or that. We accept anybody in there. If you're an educator, if you have anything to do with kids, you're at the event, you're more than welcome to pop in, but you've got to pre-register for that. And then you can scroll through the different days. And again, get in, click the links to kind of go. And then you can actually set up your calendar, put it in Google Calendar. And this is where I was saying, like, you really want to try to do the best you can to set this up ahead of time, because I've just found it at times to be overwhelming when I get on the scene and my head's, I'm meeting so many people, I'm talking, so much is going on. This is just kind of that back end where I can look and be like, okay, all right, well, I thought this was going to be worthwhile, so I need to be in this room, and it can kind of help ground me as far as where I'm going to be going. Any thoughts with that, Dom?
No, I like the scouting ahead, because once you are there, it's chaotic. You have people going from place to place, and because you do have limits to the rooms, if you wait to a session to decide, you may not get into that session, because due to fire codes and such like things of that nature, they have room size limits on attendees.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to know ahead of time so you can get from point A to point B, get into the session, get yourself a seat, and make sure you fit into the room.
Yeah. And Monday morning they kick off with just for newbies P&C orientation. One great thing about P&C, again, the program committee and the things that they do. It's one thing to be on the bleeding edge. I had a pastor once say, when you're on the cutting edge, you're going to get, when you're on the bleeding edge, you're always doing this new stuff. Cuts are going to happen. You're going to have blood loss. Sometimes it's good to not be on the cutting edge. There are people of all different abilities going to this conference. There is stuff for people who are just starting out with Google, just starting out with Microsoft, just starting out with Apple. And there are things for people who are in the middle, and there are people who are advanced. And again, when you go to the events, all the people that are presenting are educators. We thrive on questions. And so when you ask that question, if you are unsure of something, and that will sometimes help the presentation go a certain way as they get a feel for the room. So, just don't be afraid to jump in there. Don't think, well, I shouldn't go to that because that looks like that's for advanced, that's for this. Go there, be active, ask those questions. It's what we tell kids to do all the time. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get to be afraid when we go into the room,
And talking with a lot of presenters, they prefer when you ask questions.
Mhm.
And I know, as when I used to present, in the face-to-face sessions, if people weren't asking questions, I was not certain people were actually paying attention. And that kind of reassures the speakers too when you ask questions about what's going on. Yeah, a couple times I've gone into sessions that weren't exactly what I thought they were, and I've sat there and asked questions, and the presenter's like, "Don't worry, just and they explain things and go from there. They appreciate the participation."
Hey, shameless plug here, Dom. I see your name on here. Huh? What is this? Huh? Creation to curation, podcasting in your class. Huh? What's going to be going on at P&C, Dom?
We are going to be talking about podcasting in the classroom and broadcasting live. The PAECT pod.
Yes, definitely. So we'll be broadcasting live now. Obviously, shameless plug for Dom and myself, but just to let you know that PACT is going to be sending out an email, and we are going to be looking for any PACT member who's presenting at Pete. We want to know what your presentation is, what's the title, what's the little blurb. We're going to collect it so we can kind of share that out. And then we're also going to ask for you to give us an elevator pitch. A 2-minute, what is, hey, here, my name is, so my name is Eric Verno. I'm a 6th grade math and science teacher. I'm going to be talking about creation to curation podcasting in your classroom, the PACT pod. We'll be presenting live from the show, the P&C 2023. We're going to talk about where can you find resources, how can you share resources, how can you use them in your classroom. And there you go. There's your elevator pitch. So we're going to actually ask you to do that in Flipgrid format, and then we'll be able to share those out through socials. We want to promote our members doing great things. So anybody who's listening, anybody who gets that email, if you're presenting, we want to hear from you. Then also, if you'd like, we're all about, Dom's got his vest on, I got my vest on, and we're going to make sure that you'll have the PACT logo, the KTI logo available to you, that you could go ahead and put in your presentations and show that off, that you're a part of the organization. We'd love to be able to recognize you, even if people are coming around the rooms and they can tell, because every so often, if I know they're a PACT member, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this presentation is going to be a little bit above, so maybe somebody else. I might pop into that room instead. So it sets it apart.
And speaking of KTI, nominations are open.
Yes, they are. And I believe if they were a KTI star, I believe the lead learner uh, application is still open as well.
Yes. Great opportunity. Many people I know, because we have a regional uh, conference coming up, TRETC. A lot of PACT members are presenting. A lot of KTIs are presenting. It's a great way to start out as a lead learner, work in a small area because a lot of people are a little nervous at first. So, before some people are a little hesitant to apply to present at PETE right away. Start out with some of the, KTI, lead learner, some of the other conferences in the area, the ed camps in the area. I know there's different sessions going on all around the state, which is putting a little bit the cart before the horse, because we'll talk about events coming up in PACT a little bit later. But these events are a great way to cut your teeth, if you will, and start presenting to get your confidence up and, eventually put in for PETE, or something coming up in June, which we'll talk about later. Actually, it's a little too late for that, but it's a way to build up.
Most definitely. So, as we're talking about the different events that are going on, I think we'll jump right into sharing about January events. As December, a lot of our regional events have occurred. We've got some January events coming up here in Pete&C. Oh, it looks like Northwest will be hosting a pre-Pete meetup. So in-person time to get together and talk about Pete&C. That's always good.
Mm-hmm.
We got, there we go. TRETC, go ahead, Dom.
TRETC is actually, it starts Sunday night. We have a pre-conference in Pittsburgh, and everything is at TRETC.org. Get all the information. The actual conference is Monday, which is it's the 16th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It is, and I always get this, South Fayette, which is right off the Bridgeville exit of I-79. So it's right off an interstate. If you were in the Northwest, South Central, North Central, or Southwest region, easy to get to. It's right off the highway. We have the actual conference on Monday, and we are working on a post-conference meet and greet for PACT members. Thinking Top Golf, which is a few miles from the school. Some activities, some food, some decompressing from the event, all in that day.
All right, awesome stuff. And then we got Heat Up Your Assessment Game. The Northeast will be holding a virtual workshop. So it doesn't matter where you are in the state or out of state, you'll be able to join. So look for that. There'll be a calendar invite on the PACT website, pact.org. And finally, January closes out with a virtual PD on Gaithertown, virtual workshop hosted by our out-of-state, I don't want to say region, but our out-of-state group, and that'll be something that's pretty exciting there. Awesome stuff.
Yeah. Feel free to go to pact.org, check the front page, the calendar. There's all kinds of events. There's also an events page within the website, so check it out. But the calendar, you don't have to have a login. Just go to the calendar, see what's there, because we do have several levels of membership. We have the pre-service teacher membership for the students in college, pre-service teachers. We have the free membership, which is free, and we have a premium membership, which is tax deductible, and join and you get some added benefits.
Nice. And also you can go to bit.ly, all caps PACT, all lowercase EVENTS. So that's bit.ly /PACT events. All right. Awesome stuff. Always good to highlight. Always good to highlight what's going on in PACT, because there's so much going on. Again, in person, virtual, stuff for free, stuff for premium. So it's great. And again, it's PACT, it's an organization for educators by educators. We have such an awesome base, such an awesome membership, and they're always coming up with just unbelievable ideas. So it's really cool. So I really do appreciate everything that they do.
Two things we didn't mention about January.
Yeah.
Rumor has it.
Oh boy. Is it the shoe? Is it the
shoe.
sneaker? Oh man.
Race of the Regions is on its way.
Okay.
I am in training to not so much get the steps because I can get the steps. It's finding the time to get the steps, planning out my day. So that is coming up. We were talking with the professional development committee chairs, and they're just finalizing a few odds and ends, and that's getting ready to roll out hopefully in the new year. And we kind of hinted at something else going on in June, and that is going to be in Philadelphia. Eric?
It is going to be ISTE 2023 in Philadelphia. So yeah.
It's going to be in Philadelphia. It's going to be the last time for a while that'll be in Pennsylvania. So if you get a chance, that registration opens up January 10th, 2023. So it'll be early January. It opens up. Check it out. It's going to be good. I've not been to an ISTE in person, but talking to people who have been, they're phenomenal. I'm looking forward to being at this one. And, I'm looking forward to checking it out and being there. Heard it's just phenomenal. And a lot of PAECT members present there. KTIs present there. Even when it's not in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, it's a place people present at and go to, travel to.
Yeah, this past summer in New Orleans, I was just shocked with how many people I did see from our organization. I'm like, oh my word, I didn't know you were going to be here. But yeah, so definitely ISTE in Philadelphia is huge for us. We are going to have a big area that will be featuring Pennsylvania educators. We're going to be doing some remake learning. We're going to be doing some different things going on. So there'll be themed events going on there. And we will also have a pre-con event there. So definitely check out that information on the ISTE website. We're definitely looking forward to that continued partnership that we have with ISTE. So it's an awesome organization to work with. So really good.
There are also a couple book studies coming down the pike. Northwest region is having one, and we have another, and that's statewide. They're virtual, so they're open to anyone, not just within that region. And a couple KTI and some of her colleagues reached out, and they want to do another book study. So we have that lined up. We're just trying to get the timing for the book studies spaced out properly, and we'll have that posted to PAECT.org shortly. One thing I did fail to mention with PETE&C, there's a student pitch competition where if your students are developing an idea, a concept, a product, the pitch competition submissions are still open. Please feel free to email me at dominic.salvucci@paect.org, and I will get you the information about the student pitch competition. It is open to any student, middle school through high school, and those submissions are still open.
Awesome. All right, really good. Well, I think it's time we kind of roll into do a little tech notes, talking about some things that we can use in our classroom. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. All right, Dom, we'll go ahead. Why don't you kick off our tech note sessions?
Okay, well, this tech notes is going to be a little bit different from the past because mine is more of a theme. The FID day that a lot of schools had kind of changed my thinking. We were talking about it earlier today. So I'm not going to give any specific tech tool because a lot of the tech tools I use on a flexible instruction day, I've already talked about. I have students who some have very good internet connections. Some do not have very good internet connections. Some students have a strong internet connection, but because of the number of people in their house that are on computers, it sucks the bandwidth. So what I have done in the past on flexible instruction days, I always give most of the teachers, all the teachers in my district for that matter, give students extra time to complete assignments. So I usually roll out something that's easy and doesn't take a lot of bandwidth, a review type game. I don't do ed puzzles because downloading and streaming video can, kill the bandwidth in a household. I'll do, like a Quizlet, a Quizzes, Blooket, the Kahoot. You could push out Kahoots and let them play. on their own. You could assign it and they have a certain amount of time to do that. Review game zones. I'll do things of that nature where the students, review this, or go in. We use Schoology as our LMS. Here's an assignment, like, review your notes, answer a few questions, just kind of like self-reflect. And usually, like, the first, we didn't, luck into it as some people did to the FID day today. We just had the rain. But a lot of times, like, if it's truly like a snowy day outside, usually the first snow I'll put like a fun activity, you know, take a picture of yourself enjoying the outdoor activities, or doing something nice for a neighbor or helping someone out. And for the kids who don't like being out in the cold, you know, take a school appropriate picture of what you're doing in the weather, or take a school appropriate picture of how you're not enjoying the weather, you're staying inside, staying warm. And I've had kids, some kids playing video games, some kids reading a book with hot cocoa, or sitting there giving a grumpy face out at the snow because they can't go outside because it's cold and snowy and wet, or people helping their neighbors. And so it's more of a theme that I do. Let's the kids connect, get them online, think about what we're doing in the classroom, maybe review something, or in some cases, usually the first, big snowfall, have fun, enjoy the weather, because they're kids. Even though I'm at high school age, the kids need to get out and be kids once in a while. A lot of times we don't let them do that. So, review something, but then do something fun, take care of yourself, and let us know what you're doing. And they have a few days to turn that in. So the kids that don't have good bandwidth, they take a picture. Whenever they get the chance, come back into school, upload the photo, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
What you have to discuss, Mr. Verno?
Yeah. So kind of some interesting things. One thing I love, and we've talked before, but formative. Just love this site. The fact that you can kind of search. I'll use it during my rotations. But definitely for what's nice about a fit day is you can have the kids, like, they can have a paper, pencil, something, but they could just be recording their answers here. So you could just kind of real time spot check who's working, who's not. A lot of times when I go in and I create one, so let's say I'll just like go in and dig up. And the thing is, you could do a search, so pull up a lot of different math stuff, so stuff that other teachers have already created. But let's just say I'm going to go ahead and put in this Unit 1 test. Um, One nice thing is when I assign it, make it student based, that I can actually go into these check boxes, and these are the classes I have in my Google Classroom. So I'm just going to say guest students. And in the additional settings, what I love to do is when I go in here, I want to make sure that if I'm just doing this just to have them working on a concept, I want it self-checking. I want them to allow edits. So, but I also want them to know instantly whether they got it right or wrong. And so I love this feature. Again, I'm not trying to, like, it's not a I got you, right? So this unit test piece would be a practice piece if I was doing that. But I want it to be like they got what they got. Oh, it's wrong. Okay, let me go back and double check that. Let me think about that. Let me figure that out. So a lot of times I'll have them tear some pages out of the book if we think there's going to be a FID day coming up. And then this will just be collecting the information. They're doing all the paper pencil stuff. They're just writing the information in there. So it's just that other part where they're getting that self-check piece, and then I can actually pull it up, see all of the students, and just kind of scan through and see who's done what, just to kind of eyeball again, because we do give them some time to make it up, but I don't really want to take 4 more class periods of them working, right? I'm not
Right.
giving them, this is only going to take, 10, 15 minutes. So, just for me to be able to spot check and see who did or who didn't. Sometimes it's a reminder email, to them, or maybe mom and dad. But again, so that instant, and I don't want to show them the answers, especially after soon, because I'm making this open ended. All right. But maybe when I close it, then they would see the official answers. Hopefully they'd have them all right by then, and then assign. Now, if it has a little star, these are the features you get if you have a paid subscription. What I just showed you, the ability to do that, is for your free subscription. So the other thing is, now I know you talked about the bandwidth. So this doesn't take bandwidth into consideration. But I actually, at our board meeting in December, was sitting with Patty Duncan, who does a lot of work with Discovery Ed, and she was talking about this newer feature where they kind of, kind of looked at what Ed Puzzle's doing and kind of pulled some features from there. So you mentioned Ed Puzzle, but currently, Discovery Ed now has video quizzes. So a lot pre-made, and that you can go in and make your own from some of their materials. Again, you can search by content. by a keyword. You can change it by the grade levels. You can scroll through. These are already made. So when you go in and click in, let's say moon phases, and then you can scroll through. Here's the video, and it goes through and just has the different questions that they were asked. Now, a lot of times when I'm using these, again, the goal isn't the I got you. One, I tell my students when I even roll these out, I said, listen, I'm giving you this. I want you to watch this. The content is important. But how many of you, and I'll say, how many of you have ever had, a video on and then the teacher will ask you a question and you zoned out and you had that brain fart moment? You're like, oh man, I zoned out. I didn't catch that. With these, the ability to go back and replay is huge. Oh, okay. I see that. Okay. Yeah, I missed it. Sometimes you got it. Sometimes you don't. Go
Yeah.
back and replay it. And then you go through again. The content's more important than the grade, but I want to ensure that they're not zoning out the whole time. So it's asking that, I'm not locking it out. If they have another tab open, whatever. But it's just another neat thing. A lot of the school districts in Pennsylvania do have discovery education. It's just a new piece that I learned about that they have it the ready. Again, as Don mentioned, if the internet is a little flaky, it doesn't necessarily take that into consideration. But if they're able to do that, it's just a nice feature for you to have. And
Yeah.
again, a lot of schools do already have the subscriptions, so you're not having to do anything extra. It's just something you already have available to you. So those would be like the main two that I really wanted to talk about. That the ability to use that formative and to be able to pull in any kind of video stuff with the Discovery Ed. If you would look at the Ed puzzle, you can kind of pull in more stuff off of YouTube,
Yeah.
some other videos you might have. But so some of the similarities just a little bit more flexible with videos you're able to pull in Ed puzzle as opposed to Discovery Ed.
Yeah. And I like how you let the kids, check their work, because that's one of the things I do. A lot of like my reviews are, I'm using either quizzes, review game zone, said Book It. And I like that better than handing out a paper study guide from the standpoint and explain to the students. I give you a paper study guide, you fill it out. Until we check it, you don't know if your answers are right or wrong. You can check with someone in your class, but if they don't have the right answers, and I know from teaching for so many years, they don't always have the right answers. Then they study, you're studying the wrong information. So when you use these electronic forms, I know some teachers think, it's not the best thing. If you set it up so the kids get instant feedback, they know if they're getting the answers right or wrong. They know if they're studying the information, what they have is right or wrong. It's going to help them in the long run, because, filling out a worksheet or filling out even an electronic thing and not seeing whether their answers are right or wrong doesn't do them any good.
Mhm.
They're not able to formatively check their work and see, do I know what I'm talking about, or do I need to spend more time? So I always like opening that option up.
And even though a lot of our math books and stuff, they say, oh, all the odd question answers are in the back of the book. That turning of a page is just so tough for the kids sometimes. So you got to write it there ready, that they're able to kind of see that right away. So definitely now, so that's big. Now you mentioned Book It, you mentioned the games, just to throw it out there. We talked about this before. I forget what episode we talked about GimKit, but they they released sometimes they put a featured game in for free. So part of their free games, they have a snowball fight game. My students love it. What they really love is because when you're answering questions, you're building up the amount of snowballs you have. So I try to front load my how many snowballs I have, because there's no option but to play the game as a teacher. So I'm trying to answer all these questions and get it. So they, my one class, the second time we played the game, they ganged up on me, man. So be careful, especially the teachers, because I'm loading up all these snowballs and they just started firing at me. So when I finally, and the other thing, they know I'm doing it because I'm projecting to the screen so they can see the game. So then when I came back into the game, you die and like respawn, die and respawn. It was in this infinite loop that for the 10 minutes I had the game set, I couldn't even play. I kept dying, respawning, dying, respawning. So be careful. Find a
Yeah.
nice little snowbank to hide behind. But the snowball game, the snow fight game, they love on the Gim Kit. So that's a freebie for teachers that's going on for at least this week. It's live.
Nice. Yeah, Review Game Zone has one of the games you can play is a snowball fight, and sit there and you get the question right and you throw snowballs and kids throw snowballs back at you. I'll put it up on the interactive TV in front of my room and play. And the soccer game, I'm not very good at, but we'll play, and the kids get a kick out of watching me try to play the soccer game. And they'll take turns to come up and play.
Mm-hmm. And then the only other thing to mention is last week, I believe it was last week, was Code, Week of Code.
Yes.
And code.org did have some new, I always love doing, they do have some new Minecraft pieces in there. So the kids can code on the website if they don't have the apps available to them. And code.org and Microsoft with the Minecraft EDU team have put together some worlds that you can push out and the kids can kind of go into. And they're doing a lot of coding within the game of Minecraft. So some definite cool things there that I just throw in during my rotations that the kids can do something a little bit different because still that coding aspect. There's still that the program thinking and then how they're going through with that. It's the technical skills that they get from that, and it's a nice break from doing some math or doing some science just in that rotation piece.
Yeah.
So just some different options.
Have you gotten? I know Tinker has a free code of the week. TYNKER.
Right.
So I forward that out to our computer science teachers. You could use it with any group. You have a week to complete it, I believe, maybe two. But it's free. You don't have to subscribe to Tinker. They do have the fee subscriptions, but this is every week. They just throw out, here's an email. Here's a theme for this week or for the season to do, and it's a great way. It's like an activity that they could do on a flexible instructional day, or as a break from regular curriculum, or as an add-on if you do like a choice board. That could be one of the rewards on a choice board for the students.
Awesome. Really good stuff.
So we're like kind of piling on the
yeah, I tell you, putting it on late
this week.
a lot of stuff. We are working on the YouTube channel, making sure that you can click and just see the different clips of the tech notes that we do offer. We do appreciate that. If you have any apps, any different tips, techniques that you use in your classroom that you think would be good for us to feature, feel free to send a note to us, an email to us, and hey, if you want to be on the show to share about it, we're more than welcome to talk to you and do a little interview with you and have you share that tech tip directly. So yeah, just pod@pact.org if you need to email us anything. Otherwise, look for Dom at D Salvucci on Twitter, and I'm at E_Verno on Twitter. So truly appreciate it.
If you want to reach us via email, just our name, first name. Mine is under Dominic, DOMINIC, .Salvucci at PAECT.org. And you have Eric.Verno at PAECT.org.
Yep, definitely. Many ways to reach us. So a lot of good stuff. Well, so as we are heading off into the sunset of PACT Pod world, a lot going on. You got the family, we got holidays, Christmas, a lot of stuff going on with the wife and kids and all that rolling. So do you guys stay local during the holidays?
Yes. We'll do some traveling. My mom's an hour and a half away. She'll usually come up sometime. I always offer she wants me to come down and get her because it's a drive for her. But we usually host here. We stay local in town. My wife's uncle has a little get together in town. The extended family goes in and hangs out for the Christmas Eve evening. Christmas Day is here, and usually by New Year's we'll just hang out with friends somewhere at someone's house, and kids will play, and we'll just kind of sit around and hopefully watch some good football games.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not blowouts.
The triple header on Christmas Eve. That's a unique pull by the NFL.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do. We always do Christmas morning here with the kids and the wife, and do all of our stuff, and then we travel to one of the families. So we're going up to visit my folks up in the Northeast area, and then on Monday we'll head to visit the in-laws and do the rounds, get back, and we're deciding. Sometimes we host a New Year's Eve party. We haven't decided whether we're doing that now yet or not, but everybody we usually do it with just lives near in the area, just a small little gathering. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, there's a bowling alley, about 15 minutes away. Sometimes we go there, bowl early because they have a nice setup, and you get pizza, bowling for a couple hours, then we go to someone's house and hang out. And sometimes it's here, sometimes it's elsewhere. And just kind of rotate through, do that. And,
Yeah.
it's this is like my favorite food holiday.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Huh. That's awesome. So we'll make sure we thank our sponsors and help keep the lights on real quick. And as we're rounding out the show. All right, here we go. PAECT and the PAECT pod would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to our corporate council sponsors. Thank you to ClassLink, Max Cases, Go Guardian, and Bloom. Thank you to Sam Labs, DRC, and EduSpire. We appreciate all these organizations partnering with PAECT to help us to advance the education technology in Pennsylvania, which in essence helps students. We look forward to seeing you at PETE&C 2023. Thank you so much to the listeners. PAECT is a phenomenal organization because our members are amazing. Can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
We're only as good as our members, and our members are unbelievable. Truly appreciate them.
Very strong membership, very active membership, and that's good.
Very much. Very much. All right, Dom. Well, it'll be we'll have the January show. We'll be able to feature some of the PAECT members who are going to be presenting at Pete, and that'll be our last show before we have boots on the ground in Kalahari.
Yeah. It'll be one show, then live at PETE&C. Please feel free to email us. You have any ideas? You have any, tech tips? You want to be on the show? Let us know.
Most definitely.
Have safe and happy holidays to everybody. No matter how you celebrate, no matter what you celebrate, enjoy and be safe.
That's it. All right, take care. And we got just shy of 2 weeks left in the classroom, and we know attention spans are getting shorter for the kids and the teachers.
Yes.
So keep a smile on your day. Stay positive. All right, take care, everyone.
everybody.
Thank you so much. All right, see you.